fucking you're like, it's a Nazi, and they're like, no, it's a white supremacist because the parasocial context is like change. It's like, say they're a fucking Nazi. You know what I mean, right?
Like, what?
Well, it just feels like the world is fucking ending around us, and people aren't saying the word Nazi because it just like means something different. Like they're a race of people, they're a group of people that think that other races are worse, and they want bad things for those races. Like that's what a fucking Nazi is.
I mean, they're not.
They're goose-stepping through the heart of America, wherever that is. But like they're doing it. And straight white males, the people that are like the least threatened, have to just say it. They just say, I'm not a fucking Nazi. You just say it. You just say, I'm not a Nazi. It's not that hard.
Well, they're not literal Nazis.
But you just say, you just say it. You say that you have to, that's like you have to, when you enter a conversation, you have to say, I'm not a Nazi. That's crazy. That's the world we live in now. Right? And we're doing a fucking dumb internet show. And you've got a bunch of leftist people arguing with them on fucking Twitter. Like, the house is on fire. They set the house on fire, and you're debating whether it's fire while you stand in the living room?
Are you drunk before the show, dude?
Dude, I'm not fucking drunk. You drunk right now? You fucking drunk?
I mean, I'm fine.
This podcast is a production of Digital and Creative Media Works. To help support us, head to dcm.works to find links to our other show notes, Patreon, and merch. Hey guys, welcome back to the Arthritis Podcast, official podcast of Digital and Creative Media Works. My name is David, DCM Creative Director, Lead Writer, and I'm joined as always by my co-host Ben.
Hello.
Adjusting his microphone at the worst possible time.
Yep.
What a stunning twist that no one saw coming. And this week, Ben, speaking of shocks, twists, sadness, and jokes, we are talking about the storytelling of Season 4 of Bojack Horseman.
It's so painful.
I gotta say, and I'm very tired, so that's the first thing. So
okay.
there will be
Get that off.
There will be that stuttering. I will have this is new for me. There's mental lag. My brain, my mouth is working normally. My brain is not keeping up.
So every now and then you're just like
sort of a buffering sound, and it'll be me going like when I'm trying to say something.
That exact.
And I've left my phone with my notes right there, so I'm gonna get that really quickly.
While David goes and gets his notes, I'm going to talk about my experiences with this show.
Did you love it?
I mean, yeah.
It's obvious about Bojack.
Yeah, like I like Bojack. I think it's this. I've like in terms of where I rank the season. I think at this stage I'm kind of beyond ranking seasons. I think last season, so like last year or some shit. I guess. Yeah.
Yep.
We talked about like where we put season 3 in relation to the others, and I think season 3 was like what we put it like second.
Yep.
Behind season 1. This one I don't really want to rank it.
You can no longer put this. You can no longer put it on the continuum because it is no longer about whether or not it's like good. It's about the fact that it's telling.
Yeah,
it's so hard to explain because this is a piece of TV that it's going to sound wanky, but it kind of transcends the requirements of a TV season, right?
Yeah.
Like it's far enough in that you no longer are required to be like, well, it was better than the last one. Like it is just different.
It's almost going from where it started off as a very sort of serialized show. It's almost becoming more episodic where, you know, episodes have their own themes and they're fairly self-contained. And even though you have some overarching plot lines, there aren't many in this season. There's really like 2 and a half.
There's 2.5, and then there's one that
plot lines. There's like some plot lines that stop halfway through.
So I guess before we get too deep into it, as always, if the name of the thing is in the title of the show, spoilers.
Spoilers.
I've got a rant burning inside me today. I don't know what about, but it's going to come out at some point.
Early or later?
So, well, I mean, I can do it now if you want, because I'm ready.
Yeah, just blast it.
I think it might be served
Let's
later.
preface this with the fact that...
Well, no, it may be better well served later in the episode once I've got my energy up a little bit.
Alright, we'll do it later then.
But I guess
Too easy.
the first thing that I wanted to talk about, I don't know why I fucking vamped us. I wasn't going to do it. Fucking stick around for that, I guess. What am I fucking hooking you into? Podcasts.
Who's that?
There's no retention metric. What am I fucking talking about? Okay, so if you're on YouTube, stick around for that.
Listen minutes.
God, I'm losing my fucking mind. Okay. First thing, no, that'll come in the rant. Okay, so there was some stuff. I want to talk about Mr. Peanut Butter first of all.
Okay.
Because Mr. Peanut Butter has like a dumb arc at the start, and The one of the comments someone emailed me about was like, oh, I really like the season, but I thought that the stuff with Mr. Peanut Butter's mayor was like kind of weird and esoteric
Governor.
and unnecessary, whatever it was. Fucking doesn't matter. They were like, I didn't really get the point of it. And then I was sort of thinking about it, chewing on it, and the point of it is that by the time you get to the last episode, all of Diane's frustrations are your own about him. Like, you get to see the complications of living with someone like that. But it's very much like you get laser focused snippets of that within self-contained plot lines. He starts running without really telling her. She thinks he's joking, and then he's not, and then he does it, and then the fracking, and then all of these discrete things, and then you get the when they're underground, and it's because of the fracking, and all of those sequences build up, but there's no like payoff for them. And then the last episode, you think, oh, they're gonna like have like a happily ever after. They're the only people that get like a happy ending. And then they get home and he fucking they pull a 180 on you, and Mr. Peanut Butter does what he always does and he ruins it because he doesn't really he doesn't.
Yeah, the bell room. Which I was just like, I was like, God,
I
damn it! Why?
I was as upset as Diane.
Yeah.
And here's what it is, and this was kind of my take on Mr. Peanut Butter this season is, and they wanted to portray him because he's always been this character that's a little bit free of like the programming that everyone else suffers.
Yeah,
like as people.
Stress.
He doesn't really have that, right? Like he's wealthy. He doesn't really have the drive to be successful or wealthy because he kind of already is.
He kind of just mopes through.
Yes.
Not mopes. So he just like, kind of bounces through life.
Yeah, he's like deliberately unaware of stuff because we know that he's switched on, but he's like deliberately unaware.
Yeah.
And I think it speaks to like this assumption of fragility of like, the modern psyche where you're like, I'm attached to my smartphone and success and I gotta grind and gotta always be on the grind and hustle to make my way in the world. And Mr. Peanut Butter is just this character who doesn't try at all.
He doesn't try, but he still succeeds. I think Mr. Peanut Butter is a better character in a post season 3 world where season 1 or is it post season 2? The one where like you realize that he's not an idiot. He's actually 100%.
He knows what's going on.
It's the episode in the previous season where he has a confrontation with Bojack on his game show. Where he's just like, of course I know you were in love with my wife. Like, I'm not an idiot. And you're like, okay, cool.
Which I think that does...
I think post that, it gives his character a lot of leeway, where it's not just another season of him being a dumbass.
There's depth there, and it also speaks to the depth of his stupidity when he does make that error again. Like, how switched on he is, and every goddamn time their relationship gets better, he makes the same kinds of mistakes, because it doesn't matter how free you are from like the societal programming with which you live in, you're still a person, so you're still gonna be bad at stuff because the underlying message of the show is that you can't escape the kind of person that you are no matter how hard you try. Like,
I think it bounces off both him and Diane, because he's the kind of person that, given the opportunity to like make someone's dream a reality, he does. Like he goes and does it. Whereas Diane's of the sort who, dreams should be kept at arm's
she understands
length.
the complexity of like getting what you... What's the expression? It's like when you get what you want, then like where do you go from there? Whatever that saying is about,
Yeah.
When you reach that goal, and that's the biggest problem I think with the way that we set goals in like modern society, right? You're like, I've got to get, to the next job.
And then you get it.
To then
and you're
get
like,
to the next job instead of like appreciating what you have. And there's no characters in this that are very good at that because they're all like people, ironically. Even though they're
the only characters that are like that are like the side characters who come in for half a season and then leave, and you're like, no, come back, you're the only sane one.
But then it's like, the trouble with that is you can't associate with them because not many people are like that. I think in this season, Todd in particular, like they did this really interesting thing with him where a lot of his stuff is very silly, but the subtext of it is like really complicated and like kind of crunchy and messy.
I liked his arc the most, just because at the end of season 3, I was like, is Todd asexual? Like, is that where they're going? And then they just do it, and you're like, oh, cool. They're not beating around the bush. They just come out and
they do it, and then they maturely deal with it.
Yeah, they just come out and say it. You're like, cool. And then he meets the Mexican fighting fish?
I want to say she's a fighting fish. Yeah.
She's a fighting fish.
Yeah.
And she's asexual, and you're like, cool.
Yeah, makes sense. Like it's just like
it's all right.
And he goes to the ace meetups, and they're just like normal people.
They're just like normal people, and they manage to like, I was expecting one of the characters when Todd was just like, well, how can you guys be in a relationship? I was expecting them to just like stare at the camera. And
Oh
just,
my
like,
God, silence?
Just tell the audience. No, just like tell the audience, like, well, don't you know, people, asexual people
They
can
can
be
still
in
feel
relationships.
love. Yeah,
It was such like, because especially someone who's just like, who knows that kind of stuff. It's like, it's not pandering because you're like, okay, what they're saying isn't like it's not like obnoxious, but like to someone who doesn't know like what asexual is, it's nice that it's there.
And I think, you know,
they're like, well, why are those two dating if they're asexual? And it's like, well, audience member, that probably exists.
it's how you do representation well, right? Like,
Yeah.
because it adds to the plot, it makes sense for the story, it makes sense for the characters. And they weren't trying to be like, here's representation. They were like, well, obviously, like, you know, when you've written Todd for long enough, you're like, obviously he's asexual.
Oh yeah,
Like, you realize
it's
that.
super obvious. Like going back, like all of the previous stuff, really, it builds into it. It's not just Todd is asexual now.
Right.
No, he's realized.
He's
identity.
he's self-actualized and he's activated on that thing that he always was but didn't know.
Yeah.
And that's such a, like, his arc isn't, they're not trying to be like, here's an impressive story arc. They were just like, this can sometimes happen and it's fine. And like, it's not always, like, Todd isn't suddenly happy. Like,
No.
But he's just different and he's realized something about himself. And that's something that I think this season does really well, is when a character, I mean, Bojack's Horseman has always done this well as a show, which is when a character gets what they want, what they have is the thing. They don't, like, it doesn't, like, there's no magic switch that's flipped. And I think one of the reasons for that, and one of the key messages of this season that I kept coming back to when I was making my notes, is this idea of like trauma that's passed down, right? So you have this mechanic and this mechanism in life, and the show does a really good job of exemplifying this with the Beatrice episode, where there is this thing about people where you inherit you kind of inherit your is it inherit?
Inherit.
You inherit your parents' trauma, but you don't have like the tool set necessary to process it, right?
You inherit
their
something,
trauma.
and then it's inherent in your character.
Yeah, boy, that's a tongue twister. But like, you know what I mean? So what I'm trying to say is that the show does this thing where it says, well, you know, Beatrice is like this, and you think, wow, she's like, no wonder Bojack's like that, right?
Yeah.
And then you suddenly find out why she's like that, and
She's
you go,
like that.
well,
You're
no
like,
wonder
well, no
she's
wonder
like that.
she's like that.
And then what you realize is that it's not the parents that are the problem. It's that people aren't good at processing that inherited trauma is the best word for it, but that inherited damage that people have. And the show does this heartbreaking thing where it says, here's a character, Bojack Horseman, who isn't good. He doesn't like other people. He's an alcoholic. He basically numbs himself because he's unable to fit in the system properly, because the system served him too well. Because when he was young, he couldn't deal with certain things, and now he's successful and unhappy. And then you go, and this is the reason, is because his mother is like this.
Yeah.
The mechanic of going, instead of what they normally would do in a fucking TV show where they go, and his mother was hit as a child, like, that's like or like, she was abused, like, there's often like an easy explanation for why she was mean, right? Or her husband died and blah, blah, blah. But this was like a complex rendering of, this is how trauma starts, and living with this inherited trauma is like living in a world on fire, and they literally do that metaphor. And it's so poignant and clever that when you get to the point where you suddenly realize that Hollyhock is Bojack's sister, you suddenly realize that to Beatrice, all of that is white noise that she refuses to accept, because you can't see beyond. Well, you refuse to accept wrong. Yeah, well, yeah, but you can't see beyond, like, when the world's on fire, you can't see outside of that. Like, that's your entire lens, and then you have that heartbreaking. Like, I was so upset that I paused my Netflix, so I didn't watch the next episode of like 10 minutes, where the end of Beatrice's episode, where you're back in the thing with Bojack. Yeah. And then he talks to her about being on the porch at the house with her family.
The fireflies.
And I was like I cried, like, I just, it
just
broke down a part inside of me I didn't know existed. And I was so, that, like, because I identify with Bojack pretty heavily. And, like, that for me, I was like I couldn't do anything with it. And I think that's something the show this season did very well, is it said, here's all these concepts, here's all of them in practice, and here's something we're trying to say about these characters. Yeah. Enjoy trying to deal with it. And
I think the if we're talking about, like, moments where we cried, I tweeted after I watched Bojack, after I finished it, I tweeted 5 words in all caps. And that was the last line of the show where Hollyhock says, you know, I have 8 dads, but I've never had a brother. And you just get that shot of Bojack where it's that slight optimism. And my brain was just like, oh no.
Right? No, yeah. I was like, oh god, like I just...
Well, no, part of me was because we had that, like, the ending of season 3 was very much pointing Bojack as just like, he's gonna have a father arc. Like, you know, it's Bojack as a father, because it was leading up to that, and then they had sort of the tease of Hollyhock, and we were just like, Bojack as a father, this is gonna be horrible.
Yeah, we were like, that's bad.
And we had this season of Bojack as a father,
but it wasn't the arc.
Father figure. It wasn't the main arc, but it was him as, it was sort of representing what he would be like as trying to be a father.
Right, yeah, which is...
And going through that family problems, and, you know, going through the idea of, like, you know, passing down from parents. And I think for me it was like, it's like when she said, I've never had a brother, it was just this wave of, like, thoughts of just, like, it was like weird optimism where I was just like, I mean, I don't know what it is, but, like, something about that line, I was just like,
you know,
not from the sense of, like, he's gonna fuck it up, but from the sense of just like, oh,
here's
like,
what it is.
Like, exactly.
No,
like,
here's what it is. That is the first time he's genuinely been needed by someone else. I think that's what it is. Like, I think that's what it is, right? Because, like, when he's a father to her, she's got 8 dads already, which is like the writers being like, haha, we're clever. And, like, you know, Princess Carolyn doesn't need Bojack. She just kind of uses him when she needs him. Like, Todd no longer needs Bojack. You know, Bojack fucked up the one person that did need him, which was the deer in season 2 and 3. And, like, you think about his life now and you go, well, there was, like, this one opportunity for him to be needed by this kid who's got 8 dads, who's not going to be a dad. But the minute it's like brother, that's like there's first time
that
ever
changes
in
the
show.
game, because
And,
that
like,
suddenly puts him in a situation where he might actually be able to pull it off, because he doesn't. Because we've already seen he's a shit father. We've already seen he's a shit friend. He's a shit like
he's a shit employee,
boyfriend.
yeah,
he's a shit employee. He's you know, he's a shit this, shit that. But, like, part of you is just like, he's got to be a good brother,
never
right?
been a brother.
He's got to be good at that.
But what,
sure.
and you know, they give you a snippet of that with the fruit cup thing, and I was like, yeah, that is dumb. Like, everyone's like, yeah, you got it right, man. But, like, you know, the truth of that, and here comes the rant. It's been building, and it's ready.
Here we go.
I feel it
Strap in
my fingers. I feel it in my toes. Christmas is all around me. That's a Love Actually reference. Here's what I'll say. This show kind of looks at, indirectly, this idea of... I mean, the show's always looked at society through a fucking lens. I don't think that's, like, a surprise to anyone.
Super obvious.
But something that I liked about this is it took this myth of... And this is why I associate with Bojack very heavily, is because we kind of fall into the same category of personality, where there is a level of glibness and, like... Dan Harmon talks about this sometimes, where, like, if you're the kind of person that can talk your way out of anything, you rarely, like, have to deal with consequences. And Bojack doesn't necessarily talk his way out of stuff, but he just avoids consequences.
He just gets out of things, yeah.
And something that I think this show examines a little bit with him this season is, what's it like to be on the receiving end of that in a non-dramatic way? Like, it's not that he misses, like, a birthday or, like, a wedding. It's like he just vanishes for a whole day and comes back drunk.
That episode 6.
And you go, oh, that's what it would be like to actually, like, live with Bojack. And it makes sense. And I'm like, yeah, I can see that. And, you know, there were touchstones for me in that episode where I'm like, yeah, I do that kind of behavior where I'm like, I decide I'm not going to deal with it, so I avoid it, you know, with these mechanics. And something that I thought was kind of different about this season, and why I don't think it was funny, but it wasn't as funny, and it was sad, but it was different sad. And that's because when you take these characters to their natural endpoint of their arcs in season 3, what you find isn't, like, the dramatic conclusion you fucking wanted. Like, it wasn't like fireworks and, like, oh my god, Bojack's a father and it's bad. Season 3, end of season 3. Where
so last season.
Yeah, in the last season. You know, after that, you expect the arcs to then be like a redemption arc for Bojack,
right?
And, like, Princess Carolyn has a kid, and, like, all this stuff.
Yeah,
but none of it's dramatic, right? Like, everyone just kind of slips into their conclusions, and it's just like, it's so fucking refreshing. This is why I liked Mad Men, and this is why, like, I like clever TV
I was gonna say,
shows.
like, I do, because I also like the fact that at the end of this season, everyone just kind of sat on a very mellow note. Like, sure, like, Peanut Butter and Diane got a bit of a low point, but, like, you know, it's they've needed it. It's about time.
Yeah.
Princess Carolyn is in a kind of literally back to where she was at the start of season 1 almost. Literally like straight back to the beginning. Todd is somewhere. We don't really know. He's again kind of mellowing.
Todd's plateaued. Yeah, he's mellowing.
Todd's plateaued, and Bojack has finally ended the season not being fucking ruined for once.
Right. Which is very much like life, right? Like it's funny how like that ending, like, you know, normally when a season of Bojack ends,
oh, you're gutted. You're just ruined for a month.
You have to call work and say, I can't come in tomorrow. I have emotions, like
emotional distress.
I can't do the podcast next week. I'm fucked up real bad.
I've been emotionally yeah.
Yeah, this one I felt like what happened was I came out of it and I went, I'm fucked up real bad, but not because I'm really sad, though I was a bit sad. I was like, that was so good that I can't do other media. I can't. I was like, I'm rewatching Mad Men, and I was like, I can't. It's not gonna be as good. Like, it's not gonna be. I was like, I have an episode of Rick and Morty to watch. I can't do that. It's not fucking BoJack Horseman. And I watched it, and it was amazing. But like that to me, like, when I finished it, I was like, I don't want to play video games. I don't want to like listen to music.
I want to go write poetry for an hour.
I don't want to play Madden. I want to fucking sit still.
I want to live for a bit
and think about my feelings and then tell people that I love them. That's what I want to do after that. And that is a crazy thing for a piece of television to be able to do to you, is to activate you to think about yourself. What the fuck? It's a cartoon horse. What are you doing? And that, to me, when people say, oh, I don't get Bojack, I'm like, good, you shouldn't. You should just watch it. It will get you. Like, it's a show that gets inside you and makes
It's a really good tagline.
You don't get it, it gets you. Like,
if you don't get Bojack Horseman, don't worry, it'll get you.
Fuck, like, I'm yelling, but like, that to me, when you talk about good television, you talk about good storytelling, the point isn't that you had like...
hit your required steps
I got 10,000, yes. The point was inflating my fucking arm, okay? It's that rant when walking.
David's arm just beeped because he hit his 10,000 steps mid-rant.
We've traveled since the beginning of the rant is what we've done. We've gone on a journey. But I guess what I'm saying is, now I've got to find the thread again because you interrupted me, and now I'm just vamping because I don't know where I started, but I've got like all this fuel inside me. It's got to go somewhere. And I was saying about Bojack and TV and good TV. Yeah. So the thing that makes it taps into the heart of really good storytelling, which isn't that you had a fun narrative experience. What it taps into is the arcs that happened felt justified, and you feel like you fucking like were there and you learned something about what it means to be human. Like, ultimately, it's wanky and it's dumb.
Despite being a cartoon about a horse. Yeah,
it's a cartoon horse. Where a horse fucks a woman and puts a horse inside her.
I will say, yeah, I'm glad they cleared up.
I was waiting for. I needed someone to tell me
the inconsistency about what happens.
It sounded like
interracial.
it could be 50-50.
Yeah, no, they implied that it's just. It's kind of like gender. It's just like 50-50. So yeah, they meant it's just like, oh, I'm so glad it's a horse. You're like, cool.
Good to know.
Good to know that it's not just a weird conglomerate. So
weird, like.
Thanks for clearing that up.
Real talk about man.
Thanks for clearing that up in the episode that had a lot of boning in it.
We'll come back to Henrietta in a minute. Speaking of man-animal hybrids, a lot of people, myself included, made fun of George W. Bush in one of his State of the Union addresses, warning against man-animal hybrids. But I feel he did in a State of Union address. Like, he was a president anyway. It's not important.
We yearn for those days.
Oh, God, do we? Oh, do we? Now it's like these Nazis. So Henrietta, I think, was an interesting choice stylistically, because that was in Beatrice's episode, where she's this kind of faceless...
I have a lot of things to say about the entire... So I just want to get this out of the way, but it's kind of a non sequitur. But and you'll pick this up later. But the backstory episodes are so similar to the Interface series. Like, you do not even know. I was watching it and I was like, did they, like, there are some ties that are close. Check the patreon.com.
Yeah, patreon.com/DCMworks.
Hear us read that to understand what we're talking about.
If you are a $3
or less
Patreon, it's
quick
more.
$3
or more,
plug.
dipshit. $3 or less. That's the weirdest business model ever.
$5, you're out of here. Get out.
Yeah, if you guys donate $3 or more on Patreon each month, you get access to our full RSS feed. And
all right, we don't have to do it at the end now. All right, let's continue. Yeah, cool. And yeah, the whole another sort of aesthetic choice that they use that at first I was really on board, but then I feel they fucked it up was in episode 6, You Piece of, I think it's called You Piece of Shit, where Bojack has those internal dilemmas and they're animated in that weird cartoon style. I was really on board with that because I was like, that's a really cool representation of like Bojack beating himself up. But then they reused it as like a way to describe how he got the birth certificate of Hollyhock in the flashback, and I was like, guys, come on! Like you used the thing that was specifically for Bojack's head. But I thought it was cool. Anyway, continue. Faceless void people.
So here's what I wrote.
They were very weird.
Here's what distressed, probably incredibly sleep deprived me wrote when I was watching that.
Right.
Henrietta is faceless because she's a representation of Beatrice. Sorry, Henrietta is faceless because she's a representation of the potential of Beatrice's life before she had Bojack and before Hollyhock was born, right? Like, there's this idea that things that you don't want to think about are ones that you kind of erase and like you kind of bury them in some way. And in that case, it's like her face, right? Like, you don't want to see it. So they literally were like, how do you not see something? You get rid of the face. And I think what they were trying to do is they were trying to imply that, like, this idea of the potential outcomes of what you could have done versus what you did, and when you make the wrong choice, you have this weird bias where you're like, well, I just got to erase the shit that makes my decision bad, and I'm not going to feel bad about it. And you know, Beatrice, she's going through this dementia and this decay of the mind and the psyche, and you see her playing it back. And Henrietta is faceless, and there's something to me that is like so sinister about that, and like way too close to home with the way that we remember stuff that we did wrong, that I'm like uncomfortable talking about it now, because I know that that's something that people do, right? Like you take the blunt edges off your memories, because memory is like this fragile, like malleable thing. You take the blunt edges off to make yourself feel better, and you realize the truth, which is that, you know, her husband and her probably should have never been together, and then, you know, he took this job that he didn't want, and that pushed him into this relationship, but whose fault was it? And like, it's all messy and gross and weird, and then the ultimate outcome is the victim of the situation is the one that gets, you know, erased in the memory and throughout the telling.
I think it's important that Beatrice perceives Bojack as being Henrietta, and because when you get the early interactions of Beatrice just calling Bojack Henrietta, you don't know who Henrietta is at that stage, and you kind of perceive it's just like, oh, maybe Henrietta is like an old friend or something. But you find out that later it's the maid, which is really interesting, because then you get this idea that even though because she was being friendly to Bojack as Henrietta, you get this idea that that's possibly that's sort of the sort of truth of how Beatrice perceived Henrietta. So when she kind of pushed her to, you know, not have the baby, or at least put the baby up for adoption, you kind of get this element of she actively cared for Henrietta. Like, she didn't give a shit that Henrietta was sleeping with her husband, because at that stage she didn't care about her husband.
Yeah,
you know, like she didn't even like get angry at her husband. She was just like, oh, you got her pregnant. Like, that's fucking surprising.
What a shock.
Yeah, like you got to tell her, and you want me to fix it. Oh, okay, cool, sure thing. So I feel like there's an element that she really, really cared about Henrietta as a person. So, you know, offering to pay for her tuition, and like, but pushing her to sort of, you know, like, don't get stuck with this kid. And it's a weird thing where it's like, if she cared that much about Henrietta, but then she's projecting that onto Bojack, that kind of creates this weird idea where, you know, she stayed with the husband because of Bojack, because she married him because she was pregnant. So really, her reason for being there, and almost the reason for her meeting Henrietta, was Bojack. So it's this weird cyclical nature of...
Yeah, right.
It's weird.
It's complicated and weird.
It's
and gross,
really
right?
hard, and then it's just like, yeah, why is the face blurred out? Is it, you know, was it just a weird stylistic choice?
But no, I guess something to me, and this isn't necessarily like a thread that runs throughout the whole show, but I felt like in this season they kind of made a really good choice not to address it directly.
Well, then even beyond that, the fact that after literally staring at garbage, she then notices that that's not Henrietta, that's Bojack.
Right.
Literally while in like a dump, she's just like, oh hey Bojack, because Bojack belong. It's like,
Yeah, there's this
like,
association
does
there.
Bojack belong in the garbage? Which you're like, oh hey garbage, that reminds me of my son.
Yeah. It's funny you say that, right? Because I think to me, and this might be like, I might be projecting onto the show, and that's kind of the point of it, but like, there are points in your life and like when you meet people and you have relationships with people where you assume that their representation of you is one way in their head, but it's something else.
Yeah.
Right? So like you assume, they think this about me, and you find out that actually they think some version of this other truth that you didn't know about or you didn't perceive. And something that I think that because you get, and they did this, they've done this a few times where you get an ending of an episode and you're like, oh shit, and then they do the next episode and you get context for it. I'm trying to think of what it was in season 3, but they had like a big episode where they did that as well, and I can't think of what it was. The previous season, season 3. Because in this one it was the Beatrice episode, but there was another one where it ended and then you got the context for the other person's perspective.
Yeah, I think in that one it might have been it would have been was it when Bojack went off to fucking when he just left for a bit? Was that season 2? I know you like they do all the time. It's always when someone's driving, and they get a phone call and they're like, "Sorry, can't talk," and they hang up.
Yes.
You don't know why, but they come back to it later. That's how they do it.
And they do that in triplets. So you get the phone call and the hang up, and then you get the backstory for why the person hung up, and then the end point of that arc, and then you get the contextualization of the other character involved in that arc.
You get the other's perspective. Yeah.
And what it does is it's like, this show is such a good reminder, and this is like, I'm going to do a rant. We don't get political or anything, but we're in a time in history where it's important to recognize that things are more complex than they seem. There is right and wrong, but there is a lot of stuff in the middle.
Yeah.
But we have to not confuse right and wrong with like, complex gray shit. And this show does a really good job of being like, hey, a lot of stuff that you think about people is like kind of complex and weird and wrong, and just, assume that other people have stuff going on always. Like, remember that you've got all this stuff going on in your head, everyone else does as well. There's that good web comic strip where it's like 20 people sitting on a train, one of them's on their phone reading a book, whatever, and all the speech bubbles together are like, look at these fucking sheep looking at their phones or whatever.
Yeah, I've seen
right?
that.
Everyone thinks the same thing.
Everyone thinks it, yeah.
That's like, so fucking chill out and realize that there's some gray stuff. And I think that when you watch a show like this, it has the same impact on me as something like Mad Men, where like it makes you realize stuff about being a person without being like, this is how you should live your life. You gotta be happy or whatever. The show isn't about happiness. It's about like
it kind of just throws you into situations, and especially now that we're in the 4th season, it throws you into situations with characters that you have an expectation of how they're gonna act, and it's got these characters of these predefined dispositions, and you're like, okay, and then it generates conflicts, and it just kind of like pings characters at the fucking dartboard of conflict.
Yeah.
And like then they land in certain areas, and then it presents that to you as just, it just says, here's just the result, and you look at it and go, I guess.
Yeah, right.
Like, I guess, I can see why they're there, and they've landed down there, I guess, and Bojack's up there, and it's like, yeah, sure, like
it all makes sense.
It makes sense when you show me where the darts land.
It makes sense in the way that chaos makes sense, because your brain is like good at patterns.
It's the kind of thing where it's just like you look at that dartboard and you're like, I know where I land, and then all these other characters who you've spent 3 years now following are suddenly pinging in all these other places, and you're like, yeah, I guess I kind of get it.
Princess Carolyn takes like this hairpin turn in this season, and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
She just kind of, I think her arc in this is one of the most interesting, because she kind of reverses, she backtracks a lot of season 3 and kind of just falls back into the same old traps. And I mean, they were probably, thinking, let's not change Princess Carolyn too much. I think of all the characters, the characters that have changed the most are probably Todd and Bojack, which is weird because they're normally the ones who don't change at all.
They went in like opposite directions.
They went in opposite directions, but you've had Peanut Butter and Diane have come back to sort of early season 1 where they have problems, and Princess Carolyn has come back to her sort of not comfortable, sort of like solo career focused position that she was.
Nothing else.
She's got nothing else.
Yeah.
Yet Bojack, again, no one really cried for Bojack in this season, and Todd is
so,
I guess, still off
clever.
doing adventures.
I want to say about Bojack because I feel like that's a good place to like wrap up. I guess.
Yeah. It's the name of the show.
It's the name of the show. And this I want to talk about this because I've talked about this like a whole heap when we touch on a material that has like an addiction thing in it or like a mental health thing in it or whatever.
Sure.
I think something they do in this season really well is in the previous seasons they use Bojack's like alcoholism as like, he goes on a bender or he does something really dumb or there's some plot related requirement for him to do something stupid, right?
Yeah.
In this, a lot of it is like just incidental, like slice of life. This is what it's like to live with someone who drinks the way he does and behaves the way he does.
Yeah, they're not major plot points. They're strings of character. So like when he
contextual noise.
Yeah, like when he retrieves the doll that fell down the hill, and instead of giving it back, he goes to the bar with peanut butter.
Yeah, you're
And
like,
peanut butter's like, shouldn't we hand it back? And he's like, yeah, after
do it later.
After a few drinks.
of course, in your head, you were like, he's gonna lose it, but he doesn't because that's not what the show is, right? Like,
No, that's just what. Yeah,
like
he just
any other show
went
would
to drink halfway through.
Any other show would be like, and then he got drunk and lost it. But this one
Yeah.
is like, no, he's not stupid. Like
He's not dumb. He just went to
he
drink.
just had too many drinks. Yeah,
Yeah.
and like that's a smart thing because what it ends up setting up is this idea that. And this is something that I think representation struggles with as far as like mental health and addiction, all that stuff. And I don't want to like fucking stand on a goddamn what's the word for? I'm so tired. What's the word for like a pedestal? But it's like a
Soapbox.
soapbox. I want to stand on a soapbox and be like, addiction in TV is really misrepresented or whatever. But like a lot of the time, it's like tropey and shit.
I think there are a few like minor key things in this season that really did well with the whole addiction thing, like his panic purge. As you could call it, where he finds out that Hollyhock has been like drugged sort of consistently
Right.
by Beatrice, and he just kind of grabs
Gets rid
his
of
pills
all
and
of his
flushes
pills.
them. Which is like
like-
that's a purge. Like that's
And that makes sense.
That's
People
part
do
of
that.
that's part of the
Yeah,
binge
the
purge cycle
wave,
of addiction. Like it's a thing.
You go through that like week where you're like, I'm not going to buy any alcohol and I'm
I'm
going
gonna
to go for a
throw
run.
it all out.
Gonna
And
throw it all out.
it's just a weird.
Yeah, and then you have like a bad day at work and you're back in and you do
Yeah.
it, like, and that's how addiction works, right? And that was like such a smart people. The way to read that normally is like, oh well, he was upset about Hollyhock. It's like,
So
yeah,
he got
that's
rid
true.
of all the amphetamines he thought she was taking. It's like, yeah, but also it's part of a larger
Yeah, it's a bigger picture
character.
issue.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is, and this is why I love the show so much, is they don't solve his addiction. They don't like put a ribbon on it and be like, now Bojack is fixed. They're just like, he's slightly less miserable because that's how life works.
Yeah.
Which is like kind of a down note to end on, but there's enough shows going. If you want like a happy ending, watch fucking The Flash or watch like,
Friends.
fucking Friends, or watch fucking Bold and the Beautiful. Watch whatever you want
The
that's
Big
like,
Bang Theory.
watch Young Sheldon because they made that for some reason.
Wait, what?
The TV show where it's Kid Sheldon. It's Kid Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory because they said, how can we degrade intelligent people more to regular people? Let's make it. He's a kid in primary school.
Is it the same actor's head, but just
Oh,
on like
God, I wish!
CGI'd onto a tiny body?
Oh, how good if he's just on a small boy.
Yeah.
No, it's the Kid Sheldon, CBS. They hate millennials.
Fuck.
They fucking made the great indoors. Why? Just leave us alone. We did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
But you can get happy endings anywhere. But to find a show that's complex and interesting and different, there's a lot going. Like, we live in a good age of TV, I think. But
We live in a good age of serialized.
this is a good example of
Shows.
how not to Game of Thrones something, right? Like, you get to a certain
Right.
point and you maintain complexity. And this show did a really good job of being like, ooh, season 3 was really big. How do we make this one complex but different? And they did a really, like, the execution on this is so amazing that I'm like,
Yeah.
two of my favorite shows, and this should have given like younger me a nosebleed. Two of my favorite shows right now are both cartoons for adults, right? Like,
What's the other one?
Rick and Morty,
Oh, okay.
right? The fucking
Okay.
most recent episode blew my goddamn mind.
I mean,
Like, there's some stuff going on
Yeah.
in that's in adult.
I feel like
cartoon
at some
space.
point we will probably do another.
There's another one coming.
Another
Don't worry.
R&M
Just fucking
episode.
strap in. But like,
Yeah.
that is crazy to me. That
Hmm.
you have to put, like, we live in a world where like we're so fucked up that we have to put a filter of cartoon and make people into horses to access our emotions in
Hmm.
a fucking TV program. Like, things are bad, yo.
Yeah.
Do you want any recommendations for this week?
You just gonna drop that on me?
I'm just a handbrake hairpin turn. I'm going into it. It's the end of the episode.
Fucking no.
Rick and Morty. Watch get onto it. Season
episode
3's
7.
Episode 7.
It's the one where they go to Atlantis. It's
Citadel.
a good role.
Buck Wild.
I look, my opinion of that episode, mini review. I'm glad that they're finally putting an actual antagonist in Rick and Morty, like an actual antagonist that isn't just Rick.
I like that you think that's gonna pay off. It's Dan Harmon writing it. He's not doing that. He's like fuck you.
He's gonna kill him off in the second last episode,
he's
and then the antagonist is Rick.
He's just never gonna come back. That's a very Dan Harmon thing to do. I've been speaking of Dan Harmon. I've been listening to Harmontown, which is his podcast. That's my recommendation for this week.
Are his like personal projects just Harmon Noun?
Pretty much. Well,
Harmon
no.
Quest,
Well, Harmon Quest.
Harmontown.
Harmon Quest is a spin-off from Harmontown. But Harmontown is a podcast where he rants for like 40 minutes and they play D&D for 40 minutes.
Is
it's
it
really
just
good.
him?
No, it's him and
Oh,
his
damn.
friends.
I'd listen to-
The guy that voices Mr. Peanut Butter, isn't it? Pete.
Something Simmons.
No. It's Spencer Crittenden, and he's the Dungeon Master, and Mr. Peanut Butter. But it's great. Like, it's really good. And they're all live shows, so there's kind of a nice vibe to them. They're very good. So go check that out. Is Paul F. Tompkins?
Yeah, Paul F. Tompkins.
Got it. No, wait, that's not who it is. It's the
Yeah,
fucking
no,
other...
yeah,
no, he does
that's
Mr. Peanut Butter. It's the other guy that's on the show. I can't fucking think of his name right now.
Todd?
It's not a...
Bojack?
No, Todd's fucking Paul...
He's Jesse from Breaking Bad.
Yeah, I can't think of his name off the top of my
Neither.
head. He's bad in Need for Speed.
He's in Need for Speed.
Yeah, they made a film for some reason.
Oh yeah, there is a Need for Speed film.
Yeah, buddy. But it's that time of the week, Ben, because I have to lie down. Where can people find us?
Facebook,
DCMworks Social.
YouTube,
YouTube.com/DCMworks.
Twitter.
Twitter.com. No, that's not what it is. DCM_works. I'm very tired. At DCM_works.
There you go. You Patreon.
We did a Patreon mid-plug, but I want to say, like, that podcast is, like, I'm kind of fucking...
It's fun. Yeah, I enjoy
it's
it.
like, there's a lot
It's
of
a big
work. I put a lot of work into the editing, and I feel like I'm really happy with it. I'm actually, like, incredibly proud of how that show turns out. So if you guys do want to support that, make sure you go ahead over there.
Put a lot of work into the editing because I fuck up like every second sentence.
It's hard. Ben does a lot of, like...
I'm just like, how do you say it?
Philanthropic. And I'm like, do you mean philanthropic? You're like, no, philanthropic. And I'm like, so go check that out. Make sure if you're listening to the audio, you can follow us on Twitter or go to our YouTube to find our video content. We do a gameplay
See our pretty face.
once a week. We do a live stream
pretty boy
every
faces.
Sunday morning. Didn't do one last week because of technical reasons.
We play that Pubba Gubbers.
Australian hates the internet. Yeah, we're doing PUBG at the moment. It will eventually be something else when we get bored of that,
some
which
point.
maybe never. But yeah, I think that's it. Ben, I'm at DCM I Hate Pie,
I'm at Literal Citrus.
and we will see you guys next week.
It was probably a song that reminded me of it, or I'd done an Arnold Schwarzenegger voice.
Writing is definitely an isolating thing.
From an outside perspective, that's weird as
It makes
fuck.
us look really mental.
But that is
because of what it kind of said about art.
I had fun in bits. There were fun bits.
we went and bought a value pack of straps.
Oh my god, we did. There's a big lesson here to learn about storytelling.
Original German beer.
Heimengar for champions. Okay. In 3,